Today we are going to be talking about 2.1, chapter 2.1, and basically we are going to start our unit on proofs. And let's start with the very basic foundation. So this unit we are going to talk about deduction and logic thinking. So deduction is basically what can you say, or what can you prove positively without a doubt as a result of something, right? So let's say if I was walking down the street and I happened upon a tree. I was walking down the street and I happened upon the tree, and I don't know exactly what type of tree that is. However, I noticed I saw some fruit growing on this tree. The tree had some apples on it. So since there were apples on this tree, this particular tree, I can deduce without a doubt 100% that it must be an apple tree. So deductions are things that you can 100% prove given some statements. So from that, we're going to set up what we like to call if-then statements. If-then statements. And the if in the statement is your hypothesis. The then is your conclusion. So in this particular scenario with me walking down and seeing this apple, so I'm like, okay, well, if there are apples growing, right? There are apples on the tree. Then it must be an apple tree. So my conclusion from that is then it must be an apple tree. Must be an apple tree. And we have to be careful on how we use our if-then statements. We have to be careful that our logic is 100% solid, right? So, for example, going back to the apples, right? If I just said, hey, I saw a bunch of apples in a box, right? If there just happened to be apples, like I just saw them in the box in the grocery store, just happened to be standing there, right? So if my logic was if just apples, if apples, then apple tree. Well, here, this isn't right. This logic would be completely wrong, because even though there are apples, it's not growing up in a tree. There is no tree. So I can't say there is an apple tree with only just apples sitting around. So deduction, you have to be careful. Deductions are things that you can 100% prove. Let's take this into our world of math, okay? So as we know by now that a straight angle is 180 degrees, right? So we can say you know, all 180-degree angles are straight angles. That we can prove. We're like, yeah, that meets the requirements. And in turn, we can also say all straight angles are 180 degrees. This we can say back and forth. So we can actually use two different if-then statements because both conditions are met with the if and then statement, because one proves the other and the other proves the latter. So we can say if the angle is 180 degrees, then it is a straight angle. Right? Some other logic here, we can say, let's talk about shapes. Right? What if we say, talk about quadrilaterals? We know quadrilaterals are any shape with four sides. So we could say, right, if a shape has four sides, then it is a quadrilateral. So here, once again, to just reiterate, our if statements are our hypotheses, and our then statements are the conclusions that we draw from the hypothesis.